So we go again, number 32, the Darkness to Light Godcast. Welcome back. Thank you for those that are coming back. We go again, and the theme continues. Again, the last few weeks, over the last wee while, I'm just looking at myself in the mirror. I do apologise. It's this isn't a look that I'm going for now. This hair, this is in the cold shower and then out of walk with the dog under a woolen hat here. So it's coming to a point where it's not, it doesn't matter, but it's not as important. I'm not really that worried about it. I'm all day. But very much looking forward to seeing Big Grant next week and getting it chopped in again, but a bit more manageable. So the last wee bit, the last few weeks, it's continuing on. This one is going to be all about healing. Number 32 is called Healing, which is really what this whole journey has been about for me. It's been a healing since 1996, 1997 when it really started. Self-discovery, absolutely, but part of that was healing. And it's amazing all these years later, nearly 3 decades later, that it still continues to this day. 2 o'clock this morning, I found another... So there's different levels to it and different ways to as you go through the healing journey. Anybody that's been doing it consciously for a while will know this. But yeah, there's certain things, you know, come up and need addressed and need you got to face them, and depending on, you know, how you're coming in at it, you know, in terms of your level of consciousness where you're at in the journey, you know, how raw you are to it, and in terms of, you know, the impact that it's had on you. There's loads of different things that go into the timing is everything, you know. So when things come up and when you're able to deal with them and process them at different stages, depending on your skill set and what you're on about at that time, and you know what awarenesses you've got in terms of how healing actually works and takes place. And there's so many different bits to it, and that's really what I've been doing this last while, this last 28 years, is healing myself. And in the process, you know, working out some kind of really cool shortcuts, ways of doing things based on my own experience, and then passing them on. That's what this has all been about. That's the whole thing. Whether in the Vortex since 2016, when it opened, or whether before that when I was, you know, measuring windies and working on building sites and meeting people and standing in the pub or playing golf, whatever it was, I'd be talking to somebody about this stuff most of the time. That's been a real kind of priority and a focus for me since it started in 1987. And the different levels to it, it's interesting for me just now. I am very much looking after myself now for the first time in a long time, and I need it. And I look in the mirror and I know that I look that I need it. This is me actually looking no bad. But 2 o'clock this morning when the day started, thanks to young adults within our household leaving central heating on, I woke up, I thought I was in the Sahara. Oh my God. And you know, I've been up since really early. That was the second time I've been woke up. My wife, God bless her soul, she woke me up when she came to bed at back at 11, and then I woke up, you know, just like a prune. It was just before 2, I think, and came down here just for fresh air. Stood outside for about 5 minutes to try and get some oxygen back into my system, and did some meditation, and ended up spending a couple of hours during the night between about 2:30 and probably 4:30 this morning, 5 o'clock, doing some probably extensions of healing work on myself. I've now really started getting back into the healing with intention. So energy work, anybody that knows me and knows, you know, my story, it's played a huge part in my healing over the years. It started with Shui Reiki. It was my first exposure, which I was very cynical at the time, I'll be honest with you. I thought it was a lot of crap when I heard about it previous to this, and then a friend of mine went and did a course and recommended that. I went on the same course, which was a weekend, I believe. It was probably level 1 or level 2, whatever it was, and you're basically attuned to the symbols, and it was all new stuff, but it was experience I had on that very first weekend that really made me realise the power that was in it. I had a really profound healing that weekend, where for about 10 years up to that point I had I always felt like an energetic injury in my shoulder, and I felt I got it when I was in Ibiza, like defending myself from the police. I was in this position a lot, and my left shoulder for 10 years had just been in agony, and it wasn't physical, I knew that. And that very first weekend, the lady put her hands on my neck, asked me a couple of questions, and then I had this sort of exorcism where this knife was taken out of my shoulder, and the pain disappeared. Up to that point, I couldn't lie in it, couldn't turn on it. it was horrific for 10 years, and then that one session it was gone. Again, your own experience is the best way to talk about these things. Is the only way to talk about these things. That was my introduction to it, in terms of it being something that was real and something I was interested in. And then off the back of that, ended up going for a lot of energy work over the years, the next probably couple of years, and had some fantastic results. I really did. I would go at least every couple of weeks, I think, and absolutely loved it. You know, had some really profound, deep releases, some really profound, you know, repair. It felt like repair work almost being done, like a service, you know, going in and really getting different perspectives on things. And it was a great journey, that whole thing. And then I was attuned up to master level without really being asked, ever asking to do that, or I'm never a great one for paperwork or case studies or that kind of thing. It was never my bag really. And the lady that took me through the training attuned me, and it was at that point, you know, it was pretty cool, and I got it. I was never a big fan of the shoe rake, I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of ego in it, I think. A lot of people be offended by that. As to what level you're at, level 1, level 2, I'm a master, you know, and I always felt, for me even, at the time when I was doing it, the symbols and stuff, it was hard work, even that for me. But depending on where I was, would depend on the energy that came through and what type of treatment the person that was, you know, being healed. Again, another interesting concept, the fact you're actually helping somebody heal, which I felt at the time it was just a wee bit strange. So I was never really into that, never really practiced it. Self-healing, like sitting in meditation, again the same thing, but with a different intention. Starting to like lay hands on yourself, even just placing your hands on your heart and your stomach and breathing. You'll feel a connection into yourself in a different way that's really it's really nourishing. There's a real, obviously, physical connection that takes place, but when you close your eyes and you do it, as I did this morning, just lay my hands on my heart and my stomach and did some breathing for a couple of hours, and had some incredible, really enlightened, like really inspired moments of just really divine inspiration and answers to things, not just myself but for other people as well, which was great, you know. And there's something about that, just that reconnection back in, and placing the hands on your body, very, very powerful. And you know, the journey and how it unfolds, timing is everything. I see that a lot. It's so important, the timing of this. When you get the space, you know, when you're ready, when you're going through it, when you're in it, when you're struggling, when you're on it, when you're off it. The healing journey is very, very interesting, and it comes in waves. You know, it'll be like, it's like the layer of onions, really, and you might think you get to a place where you've done with it. I've had that a few times. You've actually think you've dealt with it, and then years and years later, as happened this morning, I was able to then see something from a different perspective, and then something else will come up. So it's a really interesting process for me. The journey I've been on the last few weeks, since I stopped, you know, the last couple of videos about stopping and giving myself permission to stop and taking my foot off the gas a wee bit. Now, over the last week, I've really kind of started to put some focus, you know, on myself in terms of, right, I've stopped, I wasn't doing that great, you know, so having that awareness in the beginning to see like where you're at, was the start for 10 for me, you know, like really knocking lumps out it for the longest time, and then getting to a place where even now I'm still run down, I'm bunged up all the time just now. During the night I can hardly breathe. It's the worst that it's been ever, which is really restrictive. It's one of the things I wish I could change with my physical, probably the only thing my physical body would be to like be able to breathe properly, like nasal breathe properly. It's always been an issue for me. My kids have got it as well. I've kind of passed that on, I think, and it's challenging, especially when you know as much as I do about breath work, and you know, just it's no easy when you're not feeling 100%. I don't feel bad, but I'm just not great, and that was the case in so many different fronts within my life. You know, like just like burnt out, tired, done. You know, I've spoken about it on here. So the awareness to see, right, this isn't it. Like, what is it? What do I need to do? What's next apart from this? Because this isn't working. I was getting no well. Really affecting me to the point of burnout a couple of times. It felt like, you know. So having that awareness, realising that it's not working, and then giving myself permission, you know, through. Again, it was like just a series of things that unfolded, and it's like, you really need to stop now. Time to stop. You need to give yourself a break, which I've now done. So stopping a couple of weeks ago, and probably took me the best part of a week. One of the biggest challenges that I've faced, One was probably remembering what I needed, in terms of the things that would make me feel good. The energy work was absolutely one of it. That was something that was coming back. I was really being drawn back towards, because a few of the people that are running about the Vortex just now who are really interested in it, and we've done a couple of kind of impromptu healings, I suppose. Boys Club, where the tables come up and we've talked about it, and we've done a couple of things where, just to let them feel it what it is, both to receive it and to give it. And which is something that when you get on about this stuff long enough, it's something that, healing and the power of, what you bring to in terms of how you heal, and how you come in at it, how you, how you get there. I was thinking a lot about prayer earlier on, in terms of what I believe prayer to be when I was growing up in the Catholic Church. Which was Wayne Dyer talked about a vending machine in the sky, and that's what it feels like, where you basically, I remember as a wee guy praying for new Fitbit bits or a new Fitbit strap, or whatever it was. My gran wasn't well, like when I was really young, and you're praying that she lived, and hoping that God would hear this and then grant your wishes. It's that vending machine. And then I think back to all the different ways and all the time that I spent in church growing up, in prayer, and as Catholics, the rosaries, and as an altar boy when I was young, all that kind of stuff. And again, just that, it makes you feel good to a certain level. But then, much further down the road, Dr. Hawkins, talking about prayer, and my experiences with meditation and union, through meditation with the divine, and understanding, putting loads of different bits together, in terms of, I think maybe Wayne Dyer said, like, you can't go to God and ask for a cure for cancer, because it doesn't know what it is. This non-dual, the light, it's like going to the sun, which is the source of the light, and asking about darkness. It doesn't know what it is. There's no reference for it. It's only light. It's kind of that. So the concept of healing, and the concept of prayer, and the concept of like what you bring to it, is a huge part of this journey. It really is, and that's where the programme and what we're doing, and all the different bits to it, a general, the education and the understanding of how it goes together. And for many people, not everybody, but for many people, this is a space where, they're able to continue on their healing journey. Absolutely. And it seems to, I'm not going to say for whatever reason, I know what reason, it's because of my own experience, but it attracts the heavier stuff. My work attracts the heavier stuff. Excuse me a wee second. I mean, speaking loads. It attracts the things that, people been on a lot of times their own journey with different therapies and medications and all that stuff, and almost every single time what I know and what they discover, a lot of them that come to me, is that doesn't work. The suppression and whatever the pills are doing and whatever the therapies do. Some of the stories I hear about therapy would just curl your toes. There was one person was talking about the therapist who'd been going for years and years and years, and how they used to basically go in and they would relive the experience every single time. And man, like, geez, come on, just to go in and remember. I think it was to remember. It was all lines to remember. The root cause of. It's like fucking what? It was like insanity, absolute insanity. So for me. In my journey and where it started for me, the healing journey, it was exactly that, the pills and the therapists, and sitting talking about it, cognitive, behavioural therapies, and sitting expressing yourself. I remember being in the Priory in Glasgow, and the kind of art therapist, this guy, they were all terrified to him. I think I dogged his class, because it was just, when you're no well, it's very, especially when you're really no well, it can be very difficult to, when you're going through it, and these things that they do to try and make you feel better. I remember some of the stuff they did with me. It was horrific. To actually make you do stuff, it was absolutely horrendous. It made me feel worse. There's no way it made me better in any way. It made me worse. Some of it made me much worse. The extra stress that it put under me. I remember the Priory took us at a walk one day, and the Shawlands, and it was a fucking nightmare. So I was really, really not well, like panic attacks and like the world caving in on me. Just really, really ill. And we went a walk middle of winter time. You're like, nah, that's there's something about that. I knew at the time, then didn't work. So that pain and suffering in contrast. I see it all the time and hear the stories almost every day about people being through the system. The amount of people just now that have been, prescribed the prescription, whether it's antidepressants, anti-psychs, anti-anxiety, whatever they are. The amount of people during COVID that are basically, now dealing with addictions and challenges because of the medications within their body that they never had before. It's a crazy time, and I really know that way doesn't really work. It might be a good for stopping somebody in their tracks. I would give it that. It stopped me in my tracks. It enabled me to kind of probably calm down and stop me. But it was certainly never ever going to be any full-time recovery or healing or back to the way it was meant to be ever in that model. I remember one time they talked about putting me on lithium, and I remember the time one of my friends who was his friend was a doctor, and he was like, this is back then before the internet. It's like, do not do that. And now the stuff that I know about, it's a fascinating time how we see the model, the healthcare model, how it's back then. That was 1996 when I went through the whole thing on every level, from state to private, the best in different countries as well, between Spain and over here, and then seeing what it is just now, and what it's became, and how the negative impact. So many people are getting sick. Everybody's getting sick. Everybody's struggling in some way, shape or form. You give me I probably know a couple of them, if I'm being honest, that are doing really well. But in this environment, it's quite funny. I've got the lights on and the lights turned on in here today. It's like 2:30 in the afternoon, and it just looks like the end of the world outside the window. The blinds are up fully. It's freezing cold. There's a dampness in the air. It's heavy going just now. It is up in the northern hemisphere, up in Scotland. The damp conditions are really, really challenging. And you add into that everything else. It's neither wonder that people are suffering. Normal people stuck in the realities of the world. And for me, always looking at the solutions, always looking at how do we make it better, and it's quite interesting because one of the ways that I do that is to stay away from the madness. And I was at a walk earlier on down in New Lanark, and I met a lady who was through at the hotel for an overnight. It looked like probably for respite, it felt like, because she was no well, her words. And then I discovered that the root of a lot of her stress when she started telling me was because Trump had been made president. Since Trump was elected, just the doom, in terms of what that meant to the world, and the impending doom of nuclear war. And I just thought, that's not the world that I'm in. I'm really optimistic just now. I'll be honest. I think everyone's going to be fine. I really feel that everyone's going to be okay. There's too much goodness in the world. I said this to the woman, and it actually was amazing watching the impact, because she came from a world of just the news and the media and all that, which again, I came from that world. I know what it's like. But when she actually spoke about it, I thought, you know what? Nah, that's not the evidence for me just now. That's not the reality for me. There's too much goodness in this world just now. There's too many people that are doing work, like light work, and service work, and bringing in inspiration and bringing in solutions and making this world a better place. I know dozens of them that are absolutely flying and are making the world better, So it's just fascinating. It's interesting. The environment she's in, big city, can just tell, when you're in that bubble, and the collective consciousness. But then if you're watching the news for your information every night, and you're tuning into it and you're buying into it and you're living it, because of the worry of what it's going to do to your life. Do you think of the possibility of a nuclear war could end your life? I think, for one, I don't think they've got the power for that. Those that are in control, the puppets. I don't think anybody really wants to, have 250,000 kind of life cycle for the nuclear waste that would come off one of the bombs. I don't think anybody wants that on the planet. Who wants to live underground in a bunker? Even if the mega elite, they could stay there forever. Probably they must have ways of doing that. But to the catastrophic detriment to humanity and loss of life and the planet, I can't see it unless it is the absolute, the darkest of the dark. If it is again, that one we don't talk about, unless he is back. At that point, we do need Jesus. So it's crazy times, for at that level it's crazy times. But again, when I'm looking and going, so what is my reality just now? My reality's pretty good. It is. I'm actually feeling pretty good just now. I'm focusing a lot on myself. I'm tending to myself, and I keep going back to what can you do about it? For one, nothing. If Russia and America and Britain decide to go to war, what can you do about it? Nothing. There's not a single thing you can do about it. If they decide to have a conscription and they call you up, you can decide not to go. I would imagine what your life would become then, or whether that would even matter, whether that type of war is even going to be a thing. You know, so we don't know. It's all these things that you don't know. And I remember Anthony Robbins back in 1998, he stood up on the stage and he said, like, see it how it is. Don't see it worse than it is or better than it is. And that's the challenge we face just now, is because, and especially people like that lady, God bless her, a really good woman, a good person, but they can't tell the difference between truth and falsehood. They just believe whatever the narrative or the media or, you know, is written in a bit of paper and stuck through the door, and they open it up and they believe it, you know. So we don't know. If it happens, then we'll need to deal with it, obviously. But at this point, when you don't know, you leave it as it is, and you go about your daily life. If it did happen, nothing you can do about it, you know. And so to enjoy it, I am very, very grateful just now, every single day. There is no question about it. I'm grateful in so many ways. I've been doing a lot of kind of the joy to be alive hashtags and things on the post, because I'm really kind of grateful for this world and this life that we've got and the freedoms we've got just now. Because that could absolutely change, you know, it could in the course of our lifetime. You know, so grateful for what we've got, but at the same time, again, it's the same as with the healing. When it's not working, and then you need to stop and do it in a different way. So the world is broken, the world is needing to heal. There are so many people that are needing to do some healing, and they don't have the space for it, they don't have the time for it, they don't know where to start. They probably don't even know that they need it, a lot of them. And you know, there's this whole cycle of what happens when you're born and go through your life and you get sick and then into the medical system and then your death. It's just this conveyor belt, like accelerated conveyor belt for so many people. You know, how many people, you know, live a long life where they basically die of natural causes now, and sound mind, you know, and it's basically they just die because their life force is done. How many get to that stage? No many. You know, and how many are, as I saw with my mum, that was back in just at COVID 2020, one of the wards they put her in because they had no beds in Wishaw General, and it was like a psychiatric ward, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, it was a lot of people my age that were in it. It was a lot of males as well. I thought she's in the wrong ward. Mum was in her 70s at the time. And it just didn't, and it was, oh my God, it was terrifying, you know. So there's something going on. There's something that's stopping the cells and the neurons and the brain from firing. There's something that's causing all these different ailments, from skin conditions to, you know, the cancers and the heart conditions and the MSs and all the stuff that's going on just now. There's so many different labels. There's so many things that are you know, the disease, how it manifests within the body. So it's broken, it isn't working. The world in the way that it is just now is not working. So it's needing to heal. So we need to stop it first. We need to stop the runaway train. That's the challenge. And if you can't see what truth from falsehood is, and then, you know, we are hugely challenged because of the controllers of the world and how things are set up just now, how we're so reliant in the system, which is a nightmare. It'd be great to be back, whatever, many years ago, I think, of the Native Americans and the Aborigines and, you know, the ancient cultures, the tribes living off the land in coherence with the land, you know, in union with the seasons and, you know, drinking out the rivers and catching fish, all that kind of stuff. I mean, what a way to live. What a way to live. Barbaric as well, obviously, because of the times. And I imagine at certain times disease and all of that, but you know, you think of where we're at just now in terms of even trying to get produce, some decent produce in the supermarket that's going to like nourish your body and help to, you know, supplement the regeneration of the cells within your body. Good luck. It's really, really sad. And Tesco's, which was kind of the best up in Lanark a few years ago, there's maybe 3 or 4 organic produce, that stuff that's been grown with it. Again, and even how good that is, you don't know. But in terms of labelled organic, there's not that much, you know. And then you look at the rest of the literal shite, just poison, and we wonder why we're getting sick. You know, we're all getting sick. It's not easy, you know. So the world's broken. It is. We know that. It's in free fall. The world is in chaos. It might be a war. It might be that's the reset we need. If that's the divine way and by divine order, then that might be what it is. If it's man that's doing it, or those that, you know, whatever they are, if they're doing it, you know, the ones that control the world, again, we don't know. Unless you've seen it with your own eyes, you don't know. But whoever it is that's making this world the way it is just now, I really feel that it's time for a change. But nice to get it back to the way that it's meant to be, or at least start to move in that direction. It's almost like, you know, you need to turn on the tanker, but we're going in a certain direction, you know, towards the gates of hell, it feels like. So we need to stop that, you know, and put the brakes on and slow it down, which is kind of, you know, hopefully what's happening just now. And then whatever it is that we need to do to turn it, which is going to be enough people getting around about it, enough people like being interested in, you know, I think the only way that makes it better, which is, you know, getting back to, you know, the ancient ways, the ancient practices. Why? Because the present way that it's set up, and our present reality, and our culture, and the way that we have been given the information and the information that we believe, we are so separated from basic, like just the most basic of truths as to who we are and what the planet is, and what's been the history. You know, what went down. You know, the ancient information, and, you know, all the ways that this world evolved to. And there must be some records of that, you know, somewhere. I know the Great Fire of the Library of Alexandria, where they reckon they lost a lot of the information, the ancient, you know, all the secrets, all the scrolls and the texts, and all the stuff that was passed down from who knows how far back. But, you know, when you see where we are just now, we don't know where we are. We don't know who we are. We are so lost. I mean, you think that wee woman, like, being her life, like, being, like, looking for respite because of a man who's been nominated to represent a country that's got nothing to do with you. It's the other side of the world. You know, what real impact? And you think of how negative that's, like, and that is it's just madness how far we've fallen, and through, you know, whatever it is that's made it become like this, the steps that have taken place to get us from, you know, back living out of rivers and catching the fish, and, you know, living off the land, like surviving as a job, to this way we are just now, you know, with the madness that you see. You just need to switch on any of the social media streams to see the madness. Some of the nutcases with purple hair barking at cameras and think they're cats and dogs, and man, it's like the whole mankind, the fabric of mankind and humanity, and what we are as a species has changed. It's changed in my lifetime. It's no longer just male and female, and you know, families and black and white and yin and yang, and this is what we do. We worship God, and we grow our own food, and everyone's going to be okay. It's not like that anymore. The landscape has changed completely. You know, I remember a long time ago one of my teachers talking about how way back they were tuned into the whole Atlantean stuff and Lemurians, and they reckon, well, that she reckoned that, again, this is not for me, but at the time it felt like a kind of truth that back then, and another one of my teachers has talked about this, how, you know, a disease, if you ever get any disease, it would basically take you into these cathedrals, these crystal cathedrals way back, and this is a really evolved being that shared this moment, so I'll buy that, this is real, but they would take you into these cathedrals, these kind of crystal cathedrals, and just place you in it, and then the vibrations, the frequency within, you know, the cathedrals would get rid of whatever it was, whether the equivalent to cancers, whatever the imbalance in the body was, you know, healing would be frequency. Was the way that they did it. Really interesting, and they talk about how everything was just this really evolved race of light and goodness and, you know, fair and truth. And the story goes, the one that I heard anyways, that they started kind of fucking about with the fabric of nature, similar to what man has been doing in my lifetime with cloning Dolly the sheep and, you know, whatever else they're doing. With, you know, you can just imagine the stuff that goes on in the name of science, and to see what's capable. You know, so it's it's a time where we stand in a new place, one that probably none of us expected pre-COVID, pre-2020, leading up towards that. I knew it was coming, so maybe some of us, I had a feeling that if you look back at my old posts, and I've always kind of felt that the divine reset had to happen because of the challenges I was seeing with this work, the amount of people that are suffering, the amount of people that are not well. And, you know, the way that it came through for me, and seeing how it's developed, you know, since COVID and all the challenges we face and where the world's at just now, everything's leading towards, you know, that great reset of the spirituality. The spiritual reset is what I feel is what's required. That's what's needed. Back to the way that it's meant to be. You know, back to the way of the divine. That's the bit that fixes everything. And it's the bit that allows the healing to take place. Because the different steps, there's all different steps to the healing process, but in my experience, for myself and others that have been, that have had the experience of it, whether it's through intentional healing work in here or their own meditations, or in ceremony. A lot of times it's happened in ceremony, the weekend retreats and whatever. But the healing that takes place, there's definite steps that go into it. There's a definite path of seeing where it is, like getting it up. We need to know where it is so we can get it up. I was lying here this morning thinking about the source of it. What is the source? That's what the one thing that I'm always doing with this work, is to try and find the source. What is the source? What is it that caused the whatever it is? And a lot of the time that goes way back to childhood stuff. A lot of the times people can't remember it, but it's what is it that caused the anxiety in your teenage years? What is it that caused the mental breakdown or the burnout when you're in your early 20s? What is it that caused the whatever it is? What the manifestation of the disease? A lot of the times, almost every single time, I would say it's linked back to that initial, and almost everybody, and this is certainly the case, with the medications and all of the kind of allopathic, therapies and the modern medicine way of doing things. By the time it gets to the very end, so the event, the cause that's created, the dis-ease, through the manifestation of the choice in life or the addictions or whatever it is, that the original, the source of whatever it is that led up to this point. When it gets to that right at the end stage, and you're really dealing with the reality that's unfolding because of all of this, then it's, if you're treating that, and that's all you're doing, which is what the medication does. It basically it kind of dampens down. It basically enables you to no deal with it, I suppose, by numbing you, by basically switching off your feelings, switching off your emotions, like just basically, subdues your ability to experience it. And a lot of the times at the start that can be a good thing, when you're really kind of at the beginning, especially with some of the heavier stuff, there might be a time for that to basically not be able to be your feelings. But if you want to get beyond it, if you want to heal, then it needs to, we need to address it, and we need to get it up, and we need to get it out. Being off the medications, being off the stuff that does away with your feelings. The amount of people that I've met that have been on medication for decades, 20, 30, 40 years, they get prescribed them in their teens and can't mind why, and they've just been taking antidepressants and they've never had a feeling in their whole life. They can't feel anything, can't feel love, can't feel like compassion, they're just like this, like switched off, like feelingless. I mean, and a couple of times they've asked me about it, why they can't feel love or why they can't express emotions, and a lot of them don't know, but straight away for me, it's like you've been on antidepressants and anti-anxieties for 40 years, so you've no feelings whatsoever, and what that does to you, and it's the way that people don't know that, when they can't see that is just fascinating. So the spiritual path and healing on that path is what it's all about for me. It fixes everything it touches. This is why everything that I'm doing, everything that we are doing within the vortex, within the mission, it leads towards the internal spiritual practices. And for the world to get back to the way where it needs to be and the way that it needs to be, then the healing that needs to take place on a world level, the only way that can really happen is by getting it for yourself first. That's why the focus is not yet on a macro level for us anyway. It's one soul at a time every single day. It's helping people, individuals, come in, and we're kind of refining, I suppose, the process of how it goes together. I'm certainly, I'm thinking about it a lot just now. The amount of people that have been drawn and want to learn how to do this intentional healing with energy work is really exciting and encouraging, and more evidence of the times we're in where there's so much light. As I said to that woman, there's so much goodness and so much light in this world just now. It's like that's where the focus needs to be, and I'm surrounded with it. I see it everywhere just now. Really, just so many good people that I want to get involved in light work and want to pass on what they've learned and help other human beings because of the compassion they can see. That they feel it within the mankind, and for the first time they're able to be going to be able to do something about it because of their own journey and the way that they're learning how it goes together. So there always is a way. There really is a way. For me, we need to find a source. And then funnily enough, as I realised this morning at 2:30, it's then the source that's going to basically fix it. So you find the source and then we hand it over to the source, and for me today, lying in meditation for hours, lying in meditation, which is unusual, but on the healing bed that wee Murphy's on just now right behind the camera, The journey for me, the healing of myself, it started properly last week, and now one of my students is learning how to do the energy work, the healing with intention, which is a wee bit of everything I've learned, and then it really just, now as we're tapping into the divine, becoming a channel for that by intention. And it's fascinating that the people that are being drawn to it, a lot of them have experienced enlightenment, is the only way to put it. They've experienced the divine inside them, so a lot of them know how to tap into it. It's amazing when, like the Monday Night Boys Club, we're all sitting in meditation, and the energy that's being created within the room, because there's so many people are really tuning in and getting those higher levels now and understand what it's all about. It's difficult to leave. The weekend retreat was the exact same. Watching what happened on Friday night when everybody came in for the world and their lives, and then how quickly we get into that space. But the Saturday and into the Sunday, it's a sacred place. It really is. It's wonderful, and it's exciting for me receiving the healing. A part of this for them to learn is to. All I'm really doing is explaining the way that I do it and how I allow that to come through you. And the good thing about this is, one of my last teachers with energy work, she was asking, how do you do it? And it's dead simple for me. And the great thing I learned from Angelic Reiki is it's no you that does it. Because the Shui Reiki was all about, I felt as if it was me that was trying to do it, and I never got that. It didn't feel right. But with Angelic Reiki, the angels, you're attuned to the angelic realms and ascended masters and beings of light by your intention and because of the angelic attunements, whatever they do. But when that energy comes through you, you're not doing it and you get the benefit of it. So for me, it made sense, as it did to her when I spoke to her a few years ago. She was asking how I did it now, and I was basically explaining how when I tap into the divine and I'm in alignment with God, what's coming through me, it's no too big an ask to basically intend that into somebody else. And if they understand this, the people that's on the reception, they're receiving it, when it comes in and it's coming through with the purest intention, and they know who I am, and because of the time we've spent together in meditation and over this year in particular, get ready, because miracles are going to happen. And I experienced it myself last week. I really did, the first time. It was incredible. It's the first healing session I've had myself for years and years and years. I had a couple of negative experiences with a couple of healers, 2 inside a couple of weeks that I did my training with, which I didn't like. There's a lot of, you need real proper sensory acuity. People don't understand and underestimate the power that's in this work. It's my favourite work. It's the most powerful work that I see. It is so powerful. It's so beautiful. The great thing about it is whoever is allowing the healing to come through them, they get the benefit as well. That was what I learned with Angelic Reiki, and this stuff's the same. The one that I'm doing, the way that I've put it together is the exact same. Everything gets better, and the connections that are being made at a heart level and a soul level, and then into the field and feeling what's coming through is really, really exciting. And I'm so blessed. I'm actually getting another session tonight. I'm going to have 2 within a week. And I'm just milking it for all it's worth just now. I'm really looking after myself. I'm tending to myself. I'm putting some time into myself, which I've had to learn to do. Last week was probably the first day. It's difficult because you're not kind of, still you need to be anywhere in terms of being at an office for a certain time and somebody watching over you, which my previous lifetime was like in the building trade. You always had to be somewhere, or you were always on the clock, or on a price or trying to get somewhere. Whereas this, the self-discipline of doing this, and if I ever had nothing to do, I mean, there's so many things I can always do, but if you're stuck and you're going, the guilt that would come in because of, everybody's away to work and you're like, right, I need to do stuff, I need to make yourself happen. And last week, but since I've stopped, I've gave myself a couple of days where I'm like, you know what, I don't need to do anything today, nothing, I'm healing. I need to heal, I need to get healthy. I don't feel that good, I want to get better, so what do I need to do? And since I've been doing that, we've got a new healing with healing with intention. There's a new program that's been designed because of that, because I've now got the space. There's so many things that are coming through, all because I'm really just tending to myself, and really doing the work with myself in ways that I've not done for a long time, because I don't have the additional pressure of the program. The dailies have been fantastic, just giving myself a wee bit of space, time to heal. It's not going to take long. I recover very, very quickly. Plan is to get a wee bit of sunshine over the winter, maybe get away for 3 or 4 days and get some sun into myself, my wife. It's been a wee while since we've been away, one reason or another. Again, just to break it up, it's a long winter here. The 36-7 months of this, the greyness and the dampness, it's heavy going, so a wee bit of sunshine. I'm watching Michael and Fern just now down the south of Spain, and just the impact that the sun's making on them. It's wonderful, and it's something that I absolutely wish to bring into my life much more of going forward as we continue to take this mission, the Vortex, to the world. You know, so it's exciting stuff. We've got a lot of good stuff going on. Having a wee bit of a break this week. We had no experience. There's no river at Molesey Bridge tonight. I'm recording this on the Wednesday. There's no river tonight. 50 mile/hour winds are forecast for tonight, and it's supposed to team it as well. So perfect timing for me. The fact that I'm, you know, having a break from it, and I love the Wednesday nights. I love the experience nights. I love all the work. But it's nice just a wee bit. I've been a wee bit selfish this week. Intending to myself and looking after myself. So tonight, instead of going down to the river, which has been 11 o'clock the last few weeks, so it's like a 5-hour session on a Wednesday night, which is brilliant. You don't want to leave. Anybody that's there we're loving it. It's been fantastic with the fire going in the cold river and all that kind of good stuff. The conversations, the connections with Mother Nature, with the self, with each other, and the meditations. It's been beautiful. And we'll be back on again next week if the weather permits. But there's a whole load of good stuff going on just now. Christmas coming up, going to be closed for a couple of weeks at Christmas time, and between now and then, which is only weeks away, funny to say that and not that nice to say it, we're into December now, start of December, how quick it's coming. But very much looking forward to the holidays. It's been a really tough year for us, with myself, my wife, in terms of how busy we've been, in terms of how much we've not seen each other. So we're looking forward to a wee bit of time together, and we're hopefully going to get away somewhere for a few days together as well, which will be magic, and put some time into ourselves and our marriage, away from everything. Very, very important, especially what's coming up next year. You know, so the healing continues for me. It's in full effect now. It's going to be interesting to see how much I can do. I'm hitting it in all angles. The energy stuff has been amazing. Loving the sauna, loving the cold. My body's recovering. I've been working. And I'm going to talk more about this relationship this week, and a partnership that's developing with us, myself and both Jack and Kyle Ritchie. Incredible, the Ritchie twins. I've known them for a good, a year and a half now, maybe a year and a bit. Came across them at the Financial Freedom Summit in Glasgow last year, and they came out here, and it's just been interesting to watch. I had the absolute honour. I've had about a session in a bit now. Of physiotherapy, like breaking up the aches and the pains with Jack, and it's been incredible. The minute he put his hands, I just knew it. You can just tell when somebody knows. I've been going to physio since I've been 13 years old with football, so you can tell when somebody knows what they're doing, and he definitely knows what he's doing. The healing hands, and the power within them, and how it's inspiring me to get back again. And then, you know, Kyle's going to take care of the other side, the training stuff. So that's happening. I'm going to start lifting weights. I'm going to start getting into it. I'm going to get strong. That's my plan. I'm hoping I enjoy it. I'm really looking forward to it. I've never lifted a weight in my life, and I need to get strong. I need to heal these injuries, recuperate properly, and get strong so that I can go to the golf and beat John Maguire. Absolutely. So I can go climbing, so I can go surfing, so I can get my bike. I'd like to run again, and I would love to get back to jiu-jitsu. I would love to get back to jiu-jitsu. I'd wear a gi. I'm not going no gi. That would be too serious. That's too far a stretch. But I'd love to get back and learn the martial art properly, and put some time into it. If there's a way of doing that without getting injured, that's something that I'm excited about. You know, so that's the long-term goal. Get strong, get healthy, get fit, be able to move, and then, you know, for playing golf, you know, the amount of golf that I've missed this year with my back being away, and getting out my bike, which I love. You know, the things that make this life worth living, the things you enjoy, the things that I enjoy. That's my programme. You know, I've not been doing enough of it because, and especially for the last 6 years, absolutely, I stopped training. But this year, because I've been so busy, and I'm looking forward to getting moving again. As I'm getting older, I need to move. I need to get moving again. So here we go. We'll see. It's on now. The programme has begun. Recuperation, breaking it up, getting me with my back's getting much better. I'm working it hard. The cold's a godsend, the heat's a godsend. The backup that I've now got with Jack and Kyle is fantastic, and a bit of space to work on myself has been great. You know, so I'm excited for that. Space is great. Having the awareness to feel a wee bit excited again, you know, and the awareness to see like we've done a lot of hard work. You know, then you stop and taking stock. It's quite difficult. It's been difficult for me to kind of you know, just kind of slow down and give myself permission to stop. But now that I've done that, I'm getting excited for what's coming next. There's a lot of good stuff coming up. There is so much goodness. We're surrounded with so much goodness. There is so much goodness in the world, and there's so much goodness within this work, within this programme. You know, we see it every single day. You know, so I'm excited to continue doing what we're doing and passing it on to the world. My healing journey continues. There's a whole programme, there's a whole course within this. How it feeds into addiction, how it feeds into, you know, how we get beyond it, the transcendence. I was listening this morning to Dr. Hawkins talking about forgiveness, which I spent a lot of time on during the night last night. Like, how do you forgive? What's the and then that feeling, that freedom, you know, the fragrance of the rose and the heel that has crushed it, as William Blake said. You know, that fragrance of forgiveness, just when you're able to find a way of doing it, it's so powerful. You know, so there's so many bits to it, and I'm excited just now. I'm ready for the next part of my healing journey. As I said on the retreat, I was a wee bit jealous because everybody's in it and expanding and getting stuff, and a lot of them at the start of their journey, a lot of them like different bits to it. But when you're at the other side of it, you know, you need to wait for the next wave to come. My last wave's been the last 5 or 6 years of teaching it, but now I'm feeling that I'm ready to get back in and do some work on myself again. And that's going to be, you know, that's what it's all about. It's constant expansion. There's stuff to be done. There's work to be done. You know, so there's many things. I'm definitely looking at a ceremony for myself. I need some time on my own. I like some space. I would like to get back into the writing. Again, putting some time into the spiritual side of me has been missing most of this year because I've been working. So the plan is to start to tend to that, to live in alignment. To die in alignment. When I was thinking earlier on about the, you know, old people, how old people are not a thing anymore, one of the things I've been talking about to John Maguire is the concept of to live and die in alignment. You know, when Gandhi died, he was fully consciously aware, and the last 3 words was like God, Ram 3 times, and it was basically so that being conscious and lucid and awake and aware as you transcend, you know, and leave this lifetime into the next. That needs to be a goal. That would be, you know, to live and die like that, and then to go through it consciously. That's an absolute goal. So we'll see how we go. Onwards and upwards. We keep going. We don't stop. It's no pause just now because there's so much going on behind the scenes. Great. There's loads of stuff. V2 is going to be awesome. I can feel it. And then everything else we're planning. The retreats, home and away, is coming. This new energy, the Healing with Intention course is fantastic. The community, you know, the Friday night in is back on again. I think there's a couple of spaces left for this Friday, maybe one. That's getting popular again. People want to get on about it, and more people are interested in living an intentional life. And our desire, my desire, is to help people, is to pass this on and share this way of living that makes things better. It's dead simple, you know. So we keep going, we keep doing our best. We get it for ourselves first and foremost, and at that point, you know, once you're flying, which I'm very much looking forward to being in that place again. For this week, the first time in so long. I've been waking up and I've actually been excited a wee bit. It's been brilliant. I've been looking forward to stuff. There's loads of things that I'm kind of starting to get a wee bit. You have to be able to stop and see where we're going, and now going, right, okay, where are we? What's the next bit? That's been great. That's been enough for me after the pain in the last couple of months. You know, after all the work, then stopping, getting the pain, and now starting to get a wee bit excited again. So looking forward to what's coming up. Excited to share what I'm, you know, bringing through. This work has all been documented and passed on through the programme, and there's so many different ways you can get around about it, and learn the stuff that I've picked up over the years, these ancient practices, these ancient ways to make things better. That's all I'm doing, is passing it on, and my take on it, and shortcuts, you know, and me providing bridges in terms of to get to the experience of it. Thinking this morning about the amount of people on the last retreat that experienced the divine, and I would say it's 100% strike rate. And we were talking about the other night, when we start doing the Godcast, which is absolutely in the cards for the new year, getting a different setup so we can bring everybody in, all the different groups, but talking about how consistent it is with people experiencing the divine, you know. So we're doing something. There's something that's happening, and it's happening consistently, and people are getting relief and healing because of that. So at that point, that's inspiring for me, and we're on the right page, and we're going in the right direction, and it's pulling me forward every single day. So we keep going. Love and light. God bless. Take it easy. Have a fantastic day, evening, night, wherever you are. See you soon. God bless. Peace out, and bye for now.